student speaker. Trisha Cowen earned her Bachelor of Fine Arts in Writing, Literature, and Publishing from Emerson College in Boston, before enrolling in Binghamton University's Master's Program in English. She received her MA with a concentration in Creative Writing from Binghamton in 2010. She has taught a wide range of courses for Binghamton University in creative writing, Native American literature and culture, American literature, and literature of the supernatural. She has also taught English as a second language to students in China while serving as an in-residence teaching assistant over there. Today, Trisha receives her PhD in English with a creative dissertation, and after commencement, she will continue to work as an adjunct instructor at Binghamton as she applies for full-time positions teaching creative writing and American literature. Please help me welcome Trisha Cowen.
Welcome graduates, faculty, family, and friends. It is an honor as well as a great responsibility to speak to you today. Over the course of my graduate studies, I have taught over 400 Binghamton University undergraduate students, both in the United States as well as in China. The student body is extremely diverse, but it is this diversity that has been both troubling and beautiful for me as a speechwriter. I must represent this diversity in a brief speech, enlightening and encouraging my fellow 2014 graduates without putting you to sleep. No pressure. In addition, I teach public speaking, and my students feel as though this is poetic justice. After critiquing them, they finally get to evaluate me. How am I doing on my vocal fillers? Is my posture okay? 10 out of 10 on eye contact? If I had to guess, they are grading me right now. Well, let's not disappoint. Throughout my graduate journey, I have been irrevocably enlightened and transformed by my professors and classmates, but it has been my students who have changed me the most. This past October, I was meeting with a student, and she said, "Miss Cowen, you're a real nerd. Not the kind you find on TV, but like the real kind." Stereotypical images like Screech from Saved by the Bell and Steve Urkel from Family Matters swarmed my mind like a flock of angry bees. I was haunted by the confession. Now, as a teacher, I pride myself on being approachable, innovative, and dare I say it, cool. I teach classes like Haunted America, Literature of the Supernatural, in an attempt to disguise difficult course content and theoretical ideas with pop culture. Here I was teaching a literature course about monsters, ghosts, and vampires, and was still called a nerd? How did she see through me? How could she know I kept a pile of National Geographic magazines stacked in the bottom of my drawer? Like a dirty secret. How could she know I like to watch reruns of Little House on the Prairie and Dr. Penn Medicine Woman instead of something more socially acceptable like Keeping Up with the Kardashians or The Real Housewives of Orange County? Or is it Miami? I'm not even sure. While she sat there staring at me behind her hip Buddy Holly glasses, swinging her Ugg boots back and forth under her chair, I reflected on what it means to be a nerd. We've been told our entire lives that being a nerd is bad, dangerous even. You will be bullied. You will be ostracized. Our parents have prayed for us late into the night, begging, please, please, don't let my baby be a nerd. Make her an athlete. Let her be good at hula hooping. But please, let her be normal. So nerd is something we've come to fear. Mom, Dad, I'm sorry, but it's time I admit it. I'm a nerd, an authentic, no going back nerd. And fellow graduates, let me let you in on a little secret. You are too. In honor of nerds everywhere, in an attempt to reclaim the term nerd, I've entitled my speech, Revenge of the Nerds Strike Back. Now, I know what you're thinking. One, I am not a nerd. 2, this woman is making a grand hyperbolization of my identity to make a point. 3, some of you who are more evolved than the rest of us are shaking your heads thinking that my thesis is too overt, too easy. You are the ones with Star Wars t-shirts under your graduation robes who already own your nerdiness. But for those of you in deep-seated denial, please listen up. According to ultra-nerd media, the word nerd is often used pejoratively, indicating that a person is overly intellectual or obsessive. They may spend inordinate amounts of time on unpopular or non-mainstream activities, which are either highly technical or relating to topics of fantasy and fiction to the exclusion of more mainstream activities. Graduates, to earn your achievement today, you've had to, at least at some point, make decisions. Instead of going to State Street and getting into that long line into the rat, you had to say no. Stay locked in your dorm room, desperately studying for that chem exam. You've had to choose Sodexo over the Lost Dog for the better part of 4 years, which inevitably has garnered the freshman 15. You've pulled all-nighters to master terms you will never use in the real world, like iconoclast, paradigm, tautology, ideology, and if you use them, you will be knighted nerd forever. Binghamton University is the perfect hiding place for dormant nerds, sometimes unaware of their own burgeoning identities. Our namesake isn't as recognizable as, say, Harvard. However, Binghamton's reputation is extremely nerdy. Green Sky calls us the public Ivy, meaning that we're academically comparable to an Ivy League institution. An October Business Insider article rated Binghamton University one of the top 100 smartest colleges in America. Seeing that there are over 4,000 universities and colleges in the United States, I'd say the statistics reveal something about ourselves that we may not be even aware of. Indicators of our nerd factor are accumulating on the internet faster than the overpopulated deer in the nature preserve. Furthermore, Binghamton's ranking as a premier university has not gone unnoticed. President Obama visited campus last year under the guise that he wanted to try Binghamton's Speedies. Of course, it may have something to do with the fact that Binghamton is an exemplary model of affordable, high-quality education. But as a teacher, I've recognized that Binghamton students haven't always grasped how cool nerdy can be. I had a student athlete last year who spent the entire semester hiding his intelligence from his peers. When he earned a perfect score on his midterm, his classmates asked him how he'd done, and he claimed he just wasn't cut out for academics. Sadly, he'd surrendered to the stereotype that as an athlete, intelligence and scholarly pursuits were not good for his reputation. Others on campus, though, are embracing nerdy pursuits in their academics and in their extracurriculars. Did you know that Binghamton has a LARPing club where live-action role players wear costumes and participate in an agreed fantasy world? Binghamton also has a Kidditch club, a Scrabble club, a pirate club, a video games association, as well as a zombie student association with over 200 members, where humans defend themselves against zombies with Nerf dart blasters, marshmallows, socks, foam tomahawks, and Nerf disc launchers. Marshmallows? Really? Now that sounds pretty nerdy and quite frankly pretty awesome. Parents, you may not know it, but an important part of your child's higher education has been about dressing up like Harry Potter or the undead and trying to defeat the enemy. Being a nerd also means fostering your imagination. And it's in college where most of us learn to embrace our eccentricities and the eccentricities of those around us. Diversity is cool, and our unconventionalities are what define us. I've learned to embrace being a nerd, and you should too. Nerd no longer means using suspenders to hold your pants up. Being a nerd means being an individual. Being a nerd means being brave enough to admit and embrace our unique obsessions. As you drive away from Binghamton today, you have the power to continue to summon your inner nerd or deny it. Now, I'm not asking you to go home and create computer models for the colonization of Mars, but for goodness' sake, would someone please find the cure for Ebola? Being a nerd isn't about being a brilliant recluse who rarely sees the light of day. It's a way of thinking. Nerds question the information they receive until they are satisfied with its authenticity. To be a nerd, you must be on an insatiable quest for knowledge that doesn't stop at the borders of Binghamton's campus. Thus, my advice to the graduating class of 2014 is simple. Embrace your inner nerd, marry a nerd, and read beautiful bedtime stories to your baby nerds. The survival of the world depends on it. Thank you.
I know, I feel better now.